I've been holding this inside for years. I've never told anyone. Not my best friend, not my boyfriend, not even a therapist. But tonight, I just can't carry it anymore. I need to let it out somewhere, and maybe, just maybe, someone out there will understand me. I grew up in what people from the outside would call a normal family. A nice little suburban house, a backyard, family dinners every Sunday. My mom, she was the kind of mom everyone wished they had. She smelled like vanilla and clean laundry, and she always had this soft way of touching my hair when I was upset. My dad, well, he was charming. Funny, even. The kind of man neighbors would wave to and say, "You've got such a lovely family." But families, God, they can be full of secrets. When I was 16, my mom got sick. Really sick. It started small. She was tired all the time, her skin went pale, and she just moved slower. Doctors said it was serious. Terminal. I remember standing in the kitchen the day they told us. The smell of spaghetti sauce on the stove, the sound of rain against the windows. My dad didn't hug her. He didn't even cry. He just stared at the floor. And something inside me, I don't know, it felt cold. First, I told myself it was just shock. That's how he copes. That's just Dad. But then the pills started. Mom's medication was complicated, different bottles, different times of day. She would ask my dad to help, and he did. He was always the one handing her the pills, bringing her water. I didn't question it. Why would I? He was her husband. But sometimes, I would see the way he looked at her. Not with love. Not with worry. Almost impatient. And sometimes I'd hear him on the phone at night, laughing. A woman's voice. One evening, I came home early from a friend's house. I walked past my parents' bedroom and I saw him sitting on the edge of the bed, holding one of Mom's pill bottles. He wasn't giving it to her. He was just staring at it. When he noticed me, he jumped like he'd been caught doing something wrong. He said he was just checking the dosage. I wanted to believe him. I really, really wanted to believe him. But the next morning, Mom couldn't stop throwing up. I started paying attention after that. Every time he gave her medicine, I memorized the pills. One night, while they were both asleep, I Googled the names on the labels. And that's when the coldness inside me turned into ice. Some of the pills, they weren't hers. They weren't even prescribed to her. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I was too scared. Too broken. But my brain wouldn't stop screaming. He's killing her. He's killing her. He's killing her. And the worst part? I think I knew why. There was this woman, Lisa. She had been my mom's best friend since forever. She was at our house all the time when I was little. She brought cookies, helped with birthdays, even went on some of our family trips. After Mom got sick, Lisa started coming around more. She'd bring soup, offer to help with the house. And Dad, oh my God, he would light up when she walked in. I wanted to puke. Caught them once. Nothing physical, but they were standing close in the kitchen, whispering. And when I walked in, they jumped apart like kids caught stealing candy. I knew. I just knew. The night Mom died. I'll never forget it. Dad told me to give her some rest and stay in my room. I heard him moving around, water running, pills rattling. And then silence. I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, my chest tight, my throat dry. Somewhere around 3 a.m., I heard him leave the house. When he came back, he smelled like Lisa's perfume. Mom was gone by morning. I didn't tell anyone what I suspected. I didn't scream. I didn't call the police. I just shut down. I loved him. I hated him. I wanted to run and hug him and also claw his face off. I couldn't look at him without thinking of the woman who raised me, the woman who loved him, and how he threw her away like she was nothing. That was the day I stopped being a kid. A month later, I packed a bag, took the little money I had, and left for another city. I blocked his number. I blocked Lisa. I just disappeared. And for years, I lived with this giant hole in my chest. I didn't go to therapy. I didn't talk about it. I just pretended I was normal. 5 years later, I was walking downtown, coffee in hand, earbuds in, living my new life. And then I saw him. Cross the street. Holding hands with Lisa. Pushing a stroller. A little girl, maybe 5 years old, trotting beside them, giggling. My throat closed up. I felt dizzy. Like the entire world stopped spinning. I froze on that sidewalk while traffic and strangers moved around me. He looked happy. Like none of it ever happened. I didn't cross the street. I didn't wave. I just watched them disappear around the corner. And I walked the other way, my face wet with silent tears. Even now, I don't know if I did the right thing. I don't know if I'm a coward for not going to the police or for not even confronting him. All I know is, I loved my dad. And I hate that I still do. I don't know what to do with this pain anymore. Would you have turned him in? Would you have confronted him on that sidewalk 5 years later? Or would you just keep walking like I did? When I left home, I told myself I was starting over. I was 18. freshly graduated. Everyone thought I was just another kid leaving for college in another city. I didn't tell anyone the real reason. How could I? Hey, my dad probably murdered my mom with pills so he could be with her best friend. Yeah, no one wants to hear that from the quiet girl in the back row. I rented this tiny studio apartment. It was barely big enough for a bed and a fold-out table. The walls were yellowed from age, and the bathroom sink leaked if I turned the faucet too far. But for the first time, I could lock the door and no one could hurt me there. Or so I thought. 'Cause the truth is, I wasn't free. I carried that house with me. That bedroom ceiling. That rattling pill bottle sound in the middle of the night. The smell of my mom's hair when I hugged her for the last time. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him. And her. I tried to distract myself with life. I got a job at a little coffee shop 2 blocks away. Morning shift. I'd wipe counters, steam milk, listen to people talk about their normal lives. Their annoying bosses, their favorite TV shows, their weekend plans. I became really good at faking normal. Smiling. Laughing at jokes I didn't hear. Asking about someone's dog or their wedding plans. But inside, I was a ghost. First year was the hardest. I kept expecting him to call. To hunt me down. To scream or confess or anything. But he never did. The silence was its own kind of pain. Some nights I would scroll through Facebook. Yeah, I know I shouldn't have. And I'd see her. Lisa. She started posting more photos. Smiling selfies. Cute little family dinners with her niece and nephews, at least that's what the caption said. But I knew better. I could see my dad's reflection in the window of one photo. It was like the internet was mocking me. Screaming. They got their happy ending. And you got this. I tried dating. I really did. There was this one guy, Evan. Sweet. Patient. He had these soft brown eyes that made me feel safe for a minute. But the first time he reached to touch my shoulder, I flinched. Not because I thought he'd hurt me, but because my body remembered that house. The secrets. The betrayal. I couldn't let anyone in. I couldn't even let myself in. For a couple months, he stopped texting. I didn't blame him. I wouldn't date me either. I kept thinking about the night Mom died. Her last week, she barely had the strength to sit up. Her voice was so thin I had to lean in to hear her. I remember her whispering, "Take care of yourself, baby." Not him. Not us. Yourself. And I wondered, did she know? Did she know what he was doing to her? And if she did she forgive him anyway? That thought almost broke me more than the betrayal. By year 3, I had routines. Wake up. Coffee shop. Small talk. Go home. Sit in the dark and listen to the hum of my fridge. Sometimes I'd talk to Mom out loud. I'd sit cross-legged on my cheap carpet and whisper, "I miss you. I'm sorry I didn't save you." No one answered. Then, one random Tuesday, everything changed. It was raining. I was late for work, clutching my umbrella like it could protect me from the whole world. I stopped at a crosswalk, shivering. And there he was. Crossed the street. 5 years older. Gray in his hair now. Holding a little girl's hand. She couldn't have been more than 4 or 5. Bouncy curls, pink rain boots, laughing at puddles. Lisa was next to him, holding a coffee cup like nothing in the world could touch her. They looked normal. Like a perfect little family. And I froze. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run into traffic, grab him by the collar and yell, "Do you even think about what you did?" But my feet wouldn't move. The light changed. Cars honked. And I just stood there. He didn't see me. Or maybe he did and just didn't care. I watched them walk away. And it was like my chest cracked open all over again. That night I couldn't sleep. I just kept replaying that sidewalk moment in my head. His hand holding that little girl's hand. Was that my half-sister? Did she even know I existed? Would she ever know the kind of man her father really was? I lay there, staring at my ceiling, feeling 16 again. Small. Trapped. Full of secrets I didn't ask for. That was the night I realized something that scared me more than anything. I wasn't free. Not really. I could move 100 miles away, change my name, delete my social media, but that house lived in me. And it always would. Through that night, I felt like a raw nerve. Everything hurt. The sound of rain on the window. The smell of wet pavement. Even the laugh of a child on the street, it all stabbed me like tiny knives. I couldn't stop picturing them. Him. Her. The little girl. I started spiraling. I'd walk past playgrounds and wonder, does she bring her daughter here? Does my dad push her on the swings like he never did for me? I'd open my fridge and stare at the milk, thinking about how many nights Mom asked him to pour her a glass because she couldn't get up. And he'd sigh, like it was the biggest burden in the world. And now he was someone else's perfect dad. One night I cracked. I was sitting on my couch, lights off, scrolling through old photos of Mom on my phone. Her smile, her soft eyes, the way she always wore that little gold necklace, the one I buried with her. I whispered, "Mom, I don't know how to live with this." And I started crying. Not pretty crying, not silent tears. Ugly, broken sobs that ripped out of my chest. I felt like that 16-year-old girl again, standing in the kitchen doorway, watching my dad crush up pills with a spoon, pretending it was for her pain. I felt helpless. That night, I did something I never thought I would do. I wrote him a letter. I didn't plan to send it. I just needed to bleed it out on paper. It started like this. You don't get to be happy. You don't get to walk down the street with your new family and act like nothing happened. You killed her. And you killed me too. I wrote for hours. Pages and pages of things I'd swallowed for years. The nights I heard her cry when she thought I was asleep. The time he yelled that he couldn't do this anymore. The way Lisa's car would appear in our driveway 10 minutes after he left the room. By the time I finished, my hands were shaking so bad I could barely read my own handwriting. I folded the letter, slid it into an envelope, wrote his name on it. Then I stared at it for a long time. I didn't send it. 'Cause what would it change? Would he feel guilty? Would he even care? Or would he just laugh, toss it in the trash, and go back to his perfect little life? Truth is, that letter wasn't for him. It was for me. Something shifted in me that night. I realized I couldn't keep living in this half-life. Half daughter, half ghost. I had to choose. Either keep watching his life from the shadows, or finally let go. So I deleted him. Every trace. Blocked his number. Deleted Lisa. Even removed my cousins who were still friends with him online. I stopped walking past that crosswalk on my way to work. I took the long way around, just so I wouldn't risk seeing his face. And for the first time in years, I felt a little lighter. Didn't erase the pain. Didn't bring Mom back. Didn't undo the betrayal. But it was my first step toward reclaiming my life. I told myself, he already stole your childhood. Don't let him steal your future too. I started journaling. Little things like, I made a latte art today that actually looked like a heart. Or, I walked by the river and didn't think about him for 10 whole minutes. Those tiny victories, they were mine. Then one night I opened my camera app, dared into it, and hit record. I didn't know if I would ever post it. I just needed to say it out loud. To someone, even if that someone was the void. I said, my name doesn't matter. I'm just a girl who lost her mom to something worse than death. Betrayal. I grew up in a house where love was a lie, where the person I trusted most was the one slowly killing her. And now I'm here, trying to figure out how to live with that. I talked for almost an hour. About the pills. About the silence. About that rainy day on the sidewalk. By the time I stopped recording, I felt like I could finally breathe. Like maybe this secret didn't own me anymore. For a while, life got quiet. Not happy, not really. But quiet. I poured myself into work. I made coffee. I smiled at strangers. I walked home in the rain with my hood up, thinking maybe this is all life is now. Quiet survival. I didn't tell anyone the whole story. Not friends. Not coworkers. I'd say things like, yeah, my parents are gone, and leave it at that. 'Cause how do you explain something like this? How do you put into words the kind of betrayal that burns into your bones? Then one day, life decided to punch me in the face again. I was in line at the grocery store. It was a random Tuesday. I had my headphones in, half listening to a true crime podcast, half zoning out, when I saw her, Lisa, pushing a cart. Her daughter, my dad's daughter, sitting in the little seat swinging her legs, laughing at something on an iPad. I froze. She didn't see me. She was talking to someone on the phone, laughing like life had always been this easy for her. And for a second, I felt this rage bubble up, hot and sharp. I wanted to march over there, rip the phone out of her hand, and scream, do you even think about what you did to us? Do you even care that she's dead because of you? But I didn't move. I just watched. Then the girl looked up. Big, curious eyes. And for a split second, her eyes locked. She smiled. This innocent, sweet little smile. And I swear, my whole chest cracked open. Because it wasn't her fault. She didn't ask to be born into this mess. She didn't choose her parents. She's just a kid. I ran out of that store. Left my basket behind. Got into my car and just sat there, heart pounding like I'd run a marathon. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I just kept seeing Mom's face. And Dad's. And this little girl who had his smile. And I realized something that made me feel sick. A part of me loved her, 'cause she was him, and she was me, and she was innocent, and I hated that love. I hated that I couldn't even hold on to my anger without it breaking apart into grief. That night I dreamed about Mom. She was standing in our old kitchen, wearing her favorite soft blue sweater. She smiled at me and said, "You can't carry this forever." I woke up crying, and for the first time in years, I wanted to believe her. Over the next few weeks, I tried to shift my focus. Therapy, journaling, walking by the river every morning before work. Every day I'd whisper to myself, "You survived." 'Cause I had. I was still here. Even if part of me still belonged to that house, to that betrayal, I was still here. Then one last thing happened. I got a letter in the mail. No return address. But I knew his handwriting. My hand shook as I opened it. Inside was a single page. "I hope you're okay. I think about you every day. I'm sorry for everything I did. I know I don't deserve it, but I hope one day you'll forgive me. Love, Dad." No excuses. No explanations. Just that. I stared at that letter for hours. I wanted to burn it. I wanted to frame it. I wanted to throw it in the river. In the end, I folded it carefully and tucked it in the back of my journal. Not because I forgive him. I don't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But it was the first time in years that he said my pain out loud. And somehow, that felt like a tiny piece of closure. I didn't answer the letter. I couldn't. Every time I sat down with a pen in my hand, my mind turned into a storm. What would I even say? "I miss you." 'Cause I do. "You ruined me." 'Cause he did. "I want my mom back." The only truth that matters. But that's the one thing I can never have. I kept living, quietly, like a shadow of a person, but a shadow that kept moving anyway. Work, groceries, evenings with Netflix and too much ice cream. A normal life on the outside. But inside, my chest still carried that locked-up room, full of screams I never let out. Sometimes I'd hear someone laugh in public, with a voice just a little like his, and my heart would clench. Sometimes I'd smell a perfume like Lisa's, and have to step outside for air. Trauma's funny that way. Doesn't just live in your head. It lives in your skin, in your lungs, in the way you flinch at shadows of the past. One evening I was scrolling through my phone, and a video popped up in my feed. Things you wish you could tell your younger self. And it hit me. I never told her. The little girl I used to be. That none of this was her fault. Not the sickness. Not the betrayal. Not the way our family shattered. Like a plate dropped on tile. I wanted to scoop her up in my arms, take her out of that house, and whisper, "You don't deserve this. You're going to survive. One day you'll be free." That night, I wrote my dad a letter. I didn't send it, but I wrote it. "I got your letter. I can't forgive you yet. I don't know if I ever will. But I need you to know something. I am surviving. I am building a life without you. And Mom deserved so much better." When I put down the pen, I felt lighter. Not healed. Not even close. But lighter. 5 years have passed since that grocery store day. I never saw him again. I never saw her again. Sometimes I wonder if I'll walk past that little girl when she's a teenager, and she'll have no idea why some random woman is fighting tears in the street. And that brings me here, to this moment, talking to strangers on the internet, 'cause I've carried this story like a secret tumor for too long. I know some of you are thinking, "You should have gone to the police." Maybe you're right. Others are thinking, "Cut him off and never look back." And that's exactly what I did. But the truth is, love doesn't just vanish when someone betrays you. It rots, twists, sleeps under your ribs and wakes up on quiet nights. I loved my dad. A part of me always will. And that's the cruelest part of all of this. So now I'm asking you, if you've listened this far, if you felt even a flicker of what I felt, what would you have done? Would you have turned him in? Would you have tried to forgive? Would you have walked across that street, 5 years later, to face the man who destroyed your family? Or would you keep walking like I did? 'Cause some nights, I still see that little girl in my dreams. The mom in her blue sweater. Dad holding a child that isn't mine, smiling like nothing ever happened. And I wake up with this one thought, over and over. I survived. But I'm not sure I'll ever be whole again.